Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee and happy Friday. Yes, we made it through another week and we're here to tell you all the news you need to hear about before the weekend so you don't have to worry about it. So blissfully unaware of all the honestly bullshit that's happening in the world. And enjoy this. I mean, we're having a heat wave here in Europe, but enjoying whatever you can. Weekend. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started. We've just got caffeine in our bodies, and we're learning to read live on stream. Let's get into today's headlines. Today on Friday's news dump. EU set to miss UN deadline for new target under Paris Climate Accord.
And the Equinox signals the arrival of fall in the Northern Hemisphere and the arrival of spring in the Southern Hemisphere. Also, we're going to talk about using electric tractors and their benefits.
Absolutely no evidence Putin will negotiate peace in Ukraine, outgoing MI6 chief says.
Yes, and also for Friday, Eulogy Day, is we're going to remember movie star Robert Redford.
In my culture news, The Sound of Music's child actors look back. Musicals about singing nuns. No one was sure the public was going to buy it.
And it's National Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arrgh. Arrgh, you scallywag. It is September 19th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Pirates on the starboard side. Arr. That was impressive that you did that. I know you said you were going to do it, but it was still impressed when it happened. All right, you're ready for Broadway with that quick costume change.
Hell yeah, I can play a bloody pirate at any time. You want to hear a pirate joke?
Sure, go ahead.
What wears an eye patch and says, ah?
A pirate?
It's you don't know? A pirate from Boston.
Oh.
Right? Because they don't pronounce their R's. They go, ah, ah.
Oh, good one.
Hey.
Let's roll our segue wheel for our first segue. It is a haiku.
Ooh.
So we're talking about climate accords, the Paris Climate Accord, so you'll get plenty of ammunition from this. This is on Politico, coming out by Zia Weiss and Louis Gillot, coming out of Brussels. Sorry guys, we'll get back to you. That's the message the European Union is expected to deliver at a pivotal climate summit of world leaders next week, after the bloc's countries were unable to agree on a plan to reduce planet warming emissions by 2025. Talked about this probably last month, I think, about how they were trying to have several different meetings to try to figure out how they're going to reduce the planet warming emissions, but they've been arguing about reducing plastic production, which of course all the capitalists are going, hey, you can't tell us to stop making our goods that we make money out of. That's not allowed. And all sorts of other things, but that's the one I remember. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the article. Failure to submit a target to the United Nations this month would undermine the EU's ability to influence the efforts of other nations and results in a diplomatic embarrassment for the bloc, which has long claimed a leadership role in global climate talks, particularly as China is expected to present its plan on time. Ooh, embarrassing. But EU governments who have unanimously approved the 2035 plan mandated by the Paris Agreement are at odds over how to arrive at the target. As a result, Denmark, the country currently chairing the negotiations among governments, suggests to other countries on Tuesday, the 16th of September, that the EU will merely send a statement of intent instead of submitting the required plan. We're going to do it, but we don't have anything planned out. But trust us, we're going to do something. The Danes now expect EU's 27 environmental ministers to finalize and approve a statement of intent at their meeting in Brussels. Yesterday. They should have done it yesterday. Maybe next Thursday? I'm not sure. Either they did it yesterday on the 18th, or they're going to do it on the 20th. It just says Thursday. I really wish they put dates on some of these. But I think it was probably
yesterday. Would be nice.
3 diplomats briefed, because this article is from yesterday. 3 diplomats briefed on the 16th of September. Fox said that while ministers may discuss a formal plan, there is virtually no chance of approving it. This means the EU will miss the UN's end of September deadline to submit the 2035 target. Instead, it's greenlit a ministers on the 18th of September. The bloc will show up at a 24th September summit on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, with only a promise to eventually goal. So they've been sidelined. The entirety of the EU has been sidelined because they can't make a decision. A spokesperson for the Danish negotiating team said that Copenhagen received broad support approach of exploring a statement, as this would ensure that the EU does not go to the UN climate summit empty-handed. But the Danes also said they were aware of different positions on the exact content, and that 3 diplomats said that the 18th ministerial summit would involve, the 24th ministerial summit would involve difficult negotiations. Statement as drafted by Denmark proposes a temporary emissions cutting target of between 66.3% and 72.5% below 1990 levels by 2025. EU countries would have to agree on a definite target at a later date, but it's somewhere between these two numbers. While too late for the UN deadline, the approach gives Denmark another chance to support for the more ambitious target. To achieve that, they will have to find a landing ground among sharply divergent views held by governments. The EU had intended to derive a 2035 goal of 72.5% from a new 2040 milestone that is currently being negotiated. That plan was derailed by disagreements over the 2040 legislation. Today on the 19th of September, Denmark postponed a vote scheduled for this week after major countries blocked progress. Who are these major countries? Name them now! Some countries, such as Poland, have advocated for the submit the range as the target, which would not be unusual. Brazil, the host of this year's COP30 summit, has done so as well. But for the EU, it would nevertheless represent a weaker goal, as it would see the EU effectively commit to a 3% target, while leaving open the possibility for further improvement. For that reason, another group of countries is fiercely opposed to disconnecting the 2035 target from the goal. Just when the EU will submit its final plan to the UN remains unclear. The Danish statement insists that the bloc will do so before COP30 starts in early November. EU countries agreed last week to host a debate among national leaders scheduled for the 23rd of October before agreeing on the 20 target. That will leave just 2 weeks to then strike a deal on both goals ahead of the summit.
Jeez.
There's your news. Not really much to say other than they failed. They had meetings, I think, all September. I think it was this 18th, I think we were talking about. They're having a meeting on the 18th of September to decide what they're going to do, and they still have not made decisions. Still fighting about, money, probably, right? Oh, our GDP. Who cares about your GDP when we're all dead? But here's my story.
Yeah, well,
ready for your
my bottom line. Don't you understand? My 5th yacht needs a crew. I got to hire a new crew for my 5th or 6th yacht. All right, the haiku is, this hot planet is getting warmer, no doubt. Rich assholes don't care.
No, they don't.
That's just holding us back. They're making money. Their bottom line, their AI bullshit they're trying to push on all of us, just eating up energy left and right. Throwing carbon into the atmosphere.
A lot of this is like plastic, and what does plastic do? Not much,
Cryptocurrency. Yeah, burning
Might as well
carbon
just
for
start selling plastic
cryptocurrency.
as money
Rich
at this
assholes.
point, because that's how dedicated we are to plastic.
Luckily, I have 2 kidneys. If I sell one, I got another one.
Same, and I don't
Even if it
drink
has
either.
micro-
I probably have a good amount of organs I can donate. I don't do drugs or drink.
Oh yeah, your liver's probably tip-top condition, right? Oh, you can't live without your liver, though. Although, we'll see, right?
If I don't drink,
Modern
I guess it
medicine.
doesn't matter.
I'm just joking. I'm just
I think
joking.
our next segue, if I can hear it, was metaphor simile.
Segue for my
To
story.
your story.
All right, take off my glasses. Well, I got 2 stories. We'll try to cut one of them down a bit. The first one is going to be the equinox. We're going to talk about the equinox. It happens every year on this time. It's the sun equalizing, or the day becoming 12 hours long. That's basically all it is. 12 hours of daylight. APnews.com has a story which is not really news. The equinox signals the arrival of fall in the northern hemisphere. Day and night will get equal time for a brief moment on Monday, the 22nd, as much of the world heads into fall. The autumnal equinox arrives Monday, making it the start of the fall season in the northern hemisphere and the spring in the southern hemisphere. On the equator, the sun will be directly overhead at noon. Equinoxes are the only times when both the north and south poles are lit by sunshine at the same time. That's amazing. Equinoxes have been marked and celebrated worldwide for centuries. The fall equinox is often connected with the harvest festivals in the northern hemisphere. For example, Dazniki, the harvest festival celebrated in Poland and other Eastern European countries, was thought to have been originally tied to the equinox. At the Mayan site, let's do this again. At the Mayan site, Chichen Itza in Mexico, people gather during the equinox to watch the sun create a shadow pattern that resembles a serpent descending a building called El Castillo. This year, there's a bonus for some. Antarctica, New Zealand, and a sliver of Australia may be able to see a partial lunar eclipse during their Monday. Well, if you're living in Antarctica, look in the sky. You know, all of our viewers in Antarctica, I know they're listening. But what is happening in the heavens? Here's what to know about how we split up the year using Earth's orbit. What is the equinox? As the Earth travels around the sun, it does so at an angle. For most of the year, the Earth's axis is tilted toward or away from the sun. That means the sun's warmth and light fall unequally on the northern and southern halves of the planet. During the equinox, the Earth's axis and its orbit align so that both hemispheres get an equal amount of light. The word equinox comes from 2 Latin words, meaning equal and night. That's because on the equinox, day and night last almost the same amount of time, though one may get a few extra minutes depending on where you are in the planet.
Only down
the northern hemisphere's fall or autumnal.
for daytime.
It's all going to get shorter days, going to get colder. Your plants are going to die. First frost warning I've seen in Maine, by the way. They're already getting frost. The northern New Hampshire's fall or autumnal equinox and September 21st, 24th, and the vernal equinox, or the one that happens in the spring in the northern hemisphere, between March 19th and 20th. That's why we put the first day of spring on the 20th. What is solstice? The solstice marks the times during the year the Earth is at its most extreme tilt. This means the hemispheres are getting very different amounts of sunlight in the days and nights. Are the most unequal. During the northern hemisphere's summer solstice, the upper half of the Earth is tilted towards the sun, creating the longest day, the shortest night of the year. The solstice falls between June 20th and 22nd, and 6 months later, you're going to get the winter solstice, and that falls between December 20th and 23. So there's your basic science about the equinox. Let's have a segue for my next story.
Yeah. Well,
what's that?
I was just saying, just in case no one knew how it works, it's always great to have.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, weather,
flat
the sun, it's a lot like remembering to pay your taxes. When it happens, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have to do that. And the sun's going to start going down. Yeah. I don't know why humans so easily would forget, right? We so easily forget. Oh yeah.
That's a good tip.
September, the sun's going to go down.
That's a good tip.
Earlier now.
That's a good tip, though, actually. In springtime, you can actually do your taxes on the equinox because it's right before tax day in the United States, anyway.
I guess my simile was helpful,
give you a cheer. All right, next story. Electric tractors. We got electric trains, we got electric cars. Why don't we have electric tractors? Well, turns out we do. Independent.co.uk, Michael Phillis. He has two first names, Michael and Phillis. His name is Michael Phillis. Well, electric tractors gain traction. Oh, there's a pun. At a pilot event for farmers, researchers see possibilities. In the soft dirt of indoor horseback riding ring last month, a group of farmers got ready to test drive a new piece of equipment, an electric tractor. As it turns out, as they took turns climbing in, some surprised by its quick acceleration. How are they surprised by quick acceleration? You don't have to go through gears. Anyway, they gave a real-time feedback to the Michigan State University researchers who have been developing it for over 2 years. The farmers remarked how the motors were. Most were intrigued or at least open to the idea. Some were concerned that the battery on the underside of the carriage would mean a lower clearance over the field, while others worried that it would simply be too expensive. Well, that's why you're doing experimental shit, right? You're volunteer to see how good it is. I would do that in a second. What the hell? Let's be part of the solution, not part of the problem. What we hope to do when we retire is want to give everything electric on the farm. We want to get everything electric on the farm. The tractor is the last implement to get, said Don Dunkley, one of the farmers, to provide feedback. He runs a small organic vegetable farm that has relied on wind and solar for decades. The market is fairly new, but some researchers and entrepreneurs think that electric tractors will be ideal for small farmers who care about sustainability and want to market their products that way. The small cherry red open cab machine is well suited for tasks like weeding fields of specialty asparagus or squeezing between the tight rows of orchard trees. Farmers with solar panels can avoid the cost of diesel. Agriculture is among the largest sources of climate warming emissions worldwide. Though tractors are a small culprit, experts believe an environmentally friendly machine would still attract buyers interested in sustainability. There's reduced emissions, but before you get there, you have to be solving for other problems, including noise, ease of use and cost. And Derek Mueller, business manager for battery electric systems at John Deere. There are downsides. Electric tractors are aimed for filling a niche, not overturning the status quo. And while battery technology has come a long way, they can't last all day or match the massive horsepower of a diesel engine that sets giant tractors cruising through the spalling grain and soybean operations in the Midwest. Well, there's always a horse.
That's true.
While horses have horsepower. Why few companies offer electric tractor options? Who wants them? Let's do that sentence again. Why few companies offer electric tractor options and who wants them should be a heading for a section here instead of a sentence because it's not punctuated. In addition to the battery limitations or other structural obstacles, most farmers do not have fast electric chargers, nor do they have solar panels to supply these chargers with free electricity. Diesel would much more expensive for the economics to turn sharply in favor of electric, but companies are starting to see an opportunity. Right. You build these things for when it does become feasible, and you make them more feasible as you go along. For John Deere, it is not the only solution. It's going to be where we lead our efforts. It's not going to be where we lead our efforts. It's going to be one of many options. The company has built a small utility electric tractor prototype and joins a limited set of offerings from other companies like Monarch Tractor, which started in 2019 with the aim to help farmers who have traditionally struggled with razor-thin profits, save money, work sustainability more efficiently. I think small farmers will be in the market for this. I don't know if there's a way you can go with one tractor and plow just giant fields unless you have 17, 20 tractors all charged at once and you just cycling them and running through. But if you got one tractor, you got a small farm. I can see it. There's your story. It goes on for a while, but we can get to the issues.
The meat of the story, which is
the solution is more horsepower.
We can do it, and just like electric cars, right? And build a bunch of refueling stations for your tractors. Or I guess you can get one in your barn.
Yeah, they would have to be at your house. You're not taking your tractor out on the highway. They only go about about 25 miles an hour anyway.
Yeah, you can probably get like a like a solar panel
or
all on
hybrids
top of
too.
your
Don't
barn.
forget hybrids. Right. Well, if you already have the charging options, if you're already gone environmental, you already have a windmill, and you already have solar panels. So
they just keep going
charging
all the way.
is probably not a big. It's just a matter of time, is what it is. How fast it can charge. But I'm saying it's ideal for small farmers because they don't have the high overhead costs. They don't have this huge plot of land they got to plow. They can plow this land one day, that plot next day. In a week, they're done planting. In a week, they're done harvesting, and they've only had to charge it one time. Anyway, I'm belaboring the point. That's what I do.
All right. Hello,
Belaboring.
Barry. I hope you're having a good Friday. Happy Friday, and welcome to my father and daughter podcast, where we're covering the news here right before
Happy
the
morning.
weekend.
Happy Friday. Woohoo. Happy Friday. All right, let's have a wheel.
We are going to do associate, I think. No, alliteration headlines. Alliteration headlines.
All right. Oof. Oof.
I hope you have a good letter for, what are we talking about again? Putin. Well, there you go. You got the P's right there already.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, man, I gotta avoid
More
that.
people saying obvious things. This is from Kevin Blackburn on Euronews Culture, as the outgoing MI6 chief says, hey, Putin is not going to negotiate a peace. There's no evidence he will ever do that. Of course, he's just leaving, right? So he can say whatever the hell he wants. Ukraine has accepted proposals for a ceasefire and a summit meeting, but so far Moscow has been non-committal. There's absolutely no evidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to negotiate an end to full invasion of Ukraine, the head of UK's Foreign Intelligence Agency said today, 19th September. Richard Moore, chief of MI6, said Putin was stringing us along. He seeks to impose his imperial will by all means at his disposal, but he cannot succeed, Moore said. Bluntly, Putin has bitten off more than he can chew. He thought he was going to win an easy victory, but he, and many others, underestimated the Ukrainians. The war has continued unabated in more than 3 years since Russia went on a full-scale invasion of its neighbor in 2022, despite renewed US-led efforts in recent months to steer Moscow and Kyiv settlement. Ukraine has accepted proposals for a ceasefire and summit meeting, but Moscow has been non-committal. US convicted felon Trump said during a state visit at United Kingdom on Thursday that Putin had really let me down. What do you care? It's not even affecting. Anyways, Moore was speaking on the British consulate in Istanbul after 5 years of head of MI6. He leaves the post at the end of September, when the agency will get its first female chief, Blaise Mechweli. Wow, what a cool name. Blaise Mechweli. I'm going to change my name to that. During the tenure, Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a war that still rages as Moscow continues to pound Ukrainian cities with daily missile and drone attacks. Hey, Ukrainians pounding back, okay? It's an equal pounding, which we all enjoy. Moore said that all invasion strengthened Ukrainian national identity and accelerate its westward trajectory, as well as pushing Sweden and Finland to join NATO. I'm trying to make it a little light because everyone, it's the end. Putin has sought to convince the world that Russian victory is inevitable. I think Russia running out of lies is inevitable. I guess we're just living in different realities. But he lies. He lies to the world. He lies to his people. Perhaps even lies to himself, Moore said at a news conference. Referring to the Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov, who conditioned dogs to respond to a bell. Okay, we're talking about Pavlov. Okay. Moore said a phone call from Russian president was equivalent of Pavlov's tinkling bell inside the Kremlin, eliciting learned behavior that helped Putin, whatever it is the system thinks he wants to hear. Yeah, Putin, it's going great. We haven't... Good, yeah. We're gaining ground, slowly but surely, Putin. Don't worry about it. Analysts say Putin believes...
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, I missed the thing.
Just a matter of time.
He said that Putin was I can't say this word in a British accent. Mortgaging his country's future for his own personal legacy in a distorted version of history. And the war was accelerating this decline. Moore was previously served as a UK ambassador to Turkey, added that greater powers than Russia have failed to subjugate powers than Ukraine. Is he talking about the UK never falling down to Germany there? Is that what the little slight there? A nationwide pounding.
Okay.
I guess those are some
Capitulating.
goals, I guess, to keep just, a nationwide pounding. Pounding Russia specifically, because Russia's been giving and it's time for Ukraine to give back. Analysts say Putin believes he can
they've been doing
outlast
that.
the political commitment of Ukraine's Western partners. I do feel like that is the longer this war goes on, the more people are like, I'm bored of this. I mean, everyone got bored of COVID like 3 years in, and it's technically still going. We just kind of, it's whatever.
You got a vaccination. If you don't want to take
this?
it, then you don't have to.
Yeah.
Get sick and suffer.
Yeah. Analysts say Putin believes he can outlast the political commitment of Ukraine's Western partners and win a protracted war of attrition by wearing down Ukraine's smaller army with sheer weight of numbers. Doesn't help that North Korea is also helping. Ukraine, meanwhile, is racing to expand its defense cooperation with other countries and secure billions of dollars of investment in its domestic weapon industry. Spy chief was speaking as MI6 unveiled a dark web portal to allow potential intelligence providers to contact the service. Dubbed Silent Courier, the secure messaging platform aims to recruit spies. Alright, let me sign up. To those men and women in Russia who have troops. Oh, I'm not in Russia. Damn it, I can't do this. I can't be a spy in Russia because I'm not Russian. No, I didn't think about this. Oh, time to start learning Russian. The men and women in Russia who have truths to share and the courage to share them, I invite you to contact MI6. That not just Russians, but anyone anywhere in the world would be able to use the portal to offer sensitive information on terrorism or hostile intelligence activity. Said, just go ahead and become a traitor to your country. Wink, wink. Please stay safe out there if you want to use the Silent Courier to provide any detailed information of your country. Okay. Just drink enough vodka. No, I don't drink, and also I don't look Russian at all. I look Spanish, so I think I'm not going to be able to become a spy in Russia. You could do it. You're as white as a ghost. You could go to Russia and be a spy.
All right.
That's my story about the
All right.
I guess new spy software. If anyone wants
Here's
to
your
use that.
And your headline should read. Here's your headline should read. It should read peace? Question mark. Peace. Putin prefers perpetually pummeling people.
That was good. Good alliteration.
You notice I didn't say pounding. He said pounding over and over again. I had to change it to pummeling.
We don't want to get anyone too excited. All right.
Okay.
Let me do this.
I was looking for
keys.
I was looking for a video. I'm gonna copy this
well,
video.
you need to look at your
I'm gonna
story
share
because
it.
it's time for your story.
I know, but I was just copying it so I can paste it in a minute. We're gonna talk about Robert Redford, who passed away earlier this week.
All right, I'll try my best sarcasm. That's not too insensitive, I guess.
Well, he wasn't young, so it's not like he died young, and it's a horrible tragedy. He got to be 89, which is
life.
Right. Long, healthy, mostly healthy life. NewYorker.com. Robert Redford and Perils of Perfection by Anthony Lane. Gentleman preferred blonde. Such was the job description of Robert Redford, who died on Tuesday at the age of 89. On screen, he and his buddy Paul Newman were partners in crime in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting. And though the crimes were no more wicked than political jokes, yeah, we're doing current events on this little story too, right? Though the crimes were no more wicked than political jokes, off-screen the two men were good sports, friendly, athletic, devoted to decent causes, and like most major stars, a little hard to know, keeping something back in a bid to leave us hungering for more. Both were a byword, too, for male beauty, fully alive to the almost laughable impact of their handsomeness, yet ill at ease now and then with the purchase of the pedestal. You're always dressed right. You always look right. You always say the right thing. You're Very nearly perfect, so says Jane Fonda to Redford in Barefoot in the Park. That's a movie I was trying to think of yesterday, is Barefoot in the Park. They were in. It was a comedy in which they play newlyweds. Hey, you see Barefoot in the Park. If you want to see young Jane Fonda and young Robert Redford, you will see them. They're in 3 movies together. Barefoot in the Park, The Electric Horseman, and the last one they made, which they played an old couple trying to get used to getting old. I forget the name of it. I'll think of it in a minute. I mentioned it yesterday. The pressure of perfection starts to tell of Redford's character, Paul, who winds up drunk in Washington Square Park in broad daylight, tipping garbage over himself. Do we really believe in that loss of control? There's something embarrassing in his effort to look wacky and wild. Already in the springtime of Redford's career, he seems more and more at home embodying self-command. His minor role in War Hunt in 1962 had been that of a U.S. private who quits his post during an enemy assault on Korea and huddles in the corner of a trench, his fine features seized by terror. This guy is really hung up on Robert Redford's looks, isn't he?
I guess he was hot. I don't know.
Just a little thirsty in this article, I'm just saying. But such emotional nakedness was unbecoming to Redford, and he knew it. When the Sundance Kid, less than a decade after War Hunt, confessed that he couldn't swim and didn't want to jump in the river, the audience understood that his cowardice was no more than one note, amusingly off-key in an otherwise pure melody of a relaxed heroism. Like the lady said, very nearly perfect. Redford's run of hits in the 1970s included Jeremiah Johnson, The Sting, The Way We Were, The Great Gatsby, 3 Days of the Congo, and All the President's Men. This goes from the year 1972 to 1976, suggesting a canny ability to roam across genres. The first film in this list gave Redford a beard, a rifle, and a cabin in the Rocky Mountains. The last took him to the Library of Congress and the offices of the Washington Post, as Redford instinctively grasped one way to secure a spot as the all-American guy in the public imagination is to plant yourself in as much of America as you can. He swapped the naval uniform of The Way We Were, seraphically white, and tailor-made to conquer Barbra Streisand for the evening garb of the Gatsby. Gradually, Redford turned into the star, our collective idea of what a leading man should do and be. People stuck his image up on the walls as if he were a saint and welcomed him into the language. Oh, he's no Robert Redford, they would say, some ungainly doofus. That's me, ungainly doofus. That was my college nickname. Movie critics were helpless and pointless in the face of such enormous adulation, as they had been since the era of Rudolph Valentino. When an actor charms the pants off us, oh, this guy is really thirsty. Nothing, especially a writer with a ballpoint pen and bad hair, can persuade us to put them back on. Was he a turning point? Was there a turning point in Redford's stardom, or was it just the motion of the heavens? Or if there was, it came with The Natural, in which Redford played a fictional baseball player named Roy Hobbs, a middle-aged rookie with some mysterious leukemia in his past. In other words, guy just loves flaunting his vocabulary to me. All right. Who transformed the fortunes of struggling.
The author of this article.
Somebody look up the word L-A-C-U-N-A-E. All right. No idea. Never saw that word before, but hey, I'm not this pretentious guy writing an article, right? Commercially, the film was another success, demonstrating that pretty much anything Redford touched would turn to gold. It was a good movie. The trouble was that by now the camera couldn't help but turning him to gold with every touch of light. At the climax, bleeding from an old stomach. Well, we're going to give away the ending of the movie. Way to go. Hey, spoiler alert. Hobbs breaks his favorite bat, takes a replacement from the adoring Bat Boy, and hits a home run with his final swing. And this guy is giving away the end of a movie, which is bullshit. The movie works, no question, even at the peak of its absurdity. As a viewer, however...
Well,
I'm just saying, don't watch The Natural now, because you know it ends. Jesus Christ, dude. Don't you realize most people have not seen that movie? Okay, this writer just needs to take a vacation. The movie works, no question, even when even at the peak of its absurdity, a viewer, however, you can feel yourself being worked on, even though shamelessly than you were in this thing. Of course, movies are not necessarily be taken as literal things that happen. They're supposed to be metaphors.
Yeah.
Movie critic school, apparently, he just goes to, I love movie stars because they're handsome school. There you go. Just throwing that out there because he's all hung up on how good this guy looked. This worshipful attitude towards Redford continued in Out of Africa, a movie I was highly displeased with. It was long and pointless. 3-hour movie, nothing happened. Yeah, Robert Redford was good, I guess. So was Meryl Streep, but the movie just was pointless. And beyond into the following decade, by the time Up and Close and Personal and The Horse Whisperer, the gilding, literally the illumination of his famous countenance was sometimes difficult to watch. Hollywood's leading performers venturing into the dark veil of middle age often have been kindly treated by directors of photography, not by screenwriters. What one longed to know what Redford, a smart and effective soul, made of such honeyed flattery. Did he grin and bear it, consider it his due, accept it with inward sigh as part of the deal, or secretly despise his own connivance? One wistful way to follow Redford's career is a trace of past not taken and set them aside to adventurous ones pursued by his contemporaries and forebears. Think of Burt Lancaster, tapped by Luciano Visconti to play the Sicilian prince in Leopard, and radiating even when dubbed into Italian, a grizzled and effortless grandeur. I'm going to try reading this guy one more time, and then I'm going to have to quit. Think of Henry Fonda, Jane's father, and like Redford, an upright liberal, agreeing to play murderous villain in Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West. Fonda arrived in Rome with his blue eyes darkened by contact lenses, to better convey malevolence, because, hey, blue-eyed people can't be evil, right? I don't even know what the hell that means. Leone immediately told him to remove the contacts. He wanted the blueness. By way of contrast, would Redford, whose eyes were just as sapphire-like as Fonda's, have acceded to such a plan? And there's your thirsty article from... didn't talk about any of Robert Redford's... You know, I was looking for Robert Redford, the director, Robert Redford, the founder of the Sundance Film Festival, right? That thing, it puts a lot of films out there that nobody was going to see otherwise. I was expecting some kind of eulogy. What I got instead was Anthony Lane lusting for Robert Redford throughout this article. Way to go, Anthony. I'm just saying, Anthony, cool the fuck down. He's a corpse now, all right? He's 89, for God's sake. Jesus, God. Take a cold shower. All right. Where's your, I hope we got sarcasm. When do we get sarcasm? Hopefully. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good thing he's dead because he's saved from Lane here from freaking stalking him.
Oh, Lord. Calm down, Anthony. Come on, man. There's plenty of blondes out there that aren't actors.
We got one right here, technically. Well, kind of. You were a ginger originally.
I am not interested in his lust. Thank you very much.
Maybe he has a lot of money. You don't know. He's writing an article.
I'm gonna find
how much money do article writers have?
Where they're interviewing. I'm about to send you a video. I'll give you the timestamp I want. Yeah. All right.
All right. We're rolling our next segue and.
Oh, sorry, I didn't applaud you. Hold on a second. Hold on, here we go.
My culture news.
Hey.
All right, associate this culture news with something, which I'm sure we have plenty to associate with, because Sound of Music.
Oh, no.
It's been 60 years since the Sound of Music came out.
Thirsty for the SS and Gestapo.
Yeah, it's starting to look a lot like we're going to have to start singing in the hills in Austria. This is by Guy Lodge on The Guardian. A gleaming new 4K restoration has brought the cultural touchstone back to the spotlight. But what happened to the children who played the Von Trapps? We're still almost boringly normal, says Nicholas Hammond, helpfully making an observation that I was still figuring out how to tactfully phrase. Sit down with us, you're just sitting down with a bunch of people. 75-year-old actor, speaking by Zoom from his home in Sydney, is the oldest living member of the 7-strong youth ensemble played the Von Trapp children in The Sound of Music 60 years ago. with the indelible musical receiving an anniversary release in cinemas this weekend. In a gleaming new 4K restoration to boot, 5 of the 7 are preparing for another reunion to mark the occasion. 2 are no longer with us. Charmin Carr, who played the eldest daughter, Liesl, and Heather Menzies, who played Louisa, died in 2016 and 17. But the other Von Trapp actors, as Hamann said, have otherwise largely been spared any great misfortune. That's terrible. There were children in that film. Freaking, what's her name is still alive and kicking, as far as I remember. That's crazy. Anyways.
Right.
None of the actors who played the children have really had terrible incidents, their lives of tragedy, chaos, addictions, or problems I hear about so often with child actors. Yes, we're all identified forever as those characters, but it hasn't sent anybody's life off the rails. None of the 7 became major movie stars off the back of starring in what was, at one point, the biggest box office hit of all time. Some went on to steady acting careers, while others eventually picked up another vocation entirely. Dwayne Chase, who played Kurt, studied geology and became a forester. Debbie Turner, who played Marta, is a floral designer, though she makes and sells sound and music-themed scarves on her personal website. I expect the combination of vulnerable youth and blockbuster exposure to have a monkey's paw consequence in at least one of their cases. But various Where Are They Now interviews with actors over the years have been consistent in their general positivity. It was a great experience, they're part of a great legacy, and they're all still great friends. It's like watching home movies, says Angela Cartwright, who played middle daughter Brigitte of Watching the Film Today. It's like the way our kids watch videos of themselves. It brings back wonderful memories. I remember I instantly clicked with Heather Menzies, so I was in Salzburg with a really, really good friend who also loved the Beatles. Just fantastic. Everything on it was great. When we see each other again, it's like we've never been apart. We're just like family. We've seen each other at Sound of Music reunions, of course, said Hammond. But sometimes we just get together and have a meal. That's always really fun, too. I love them all. I mean, unashamedly, I love them. I don't have a sister, and those girls are my sisters. We've been through a lot with each other. You know, good times, birthdays, weddings, bad times, divorces, funerals, illness. We've always been there for each other, and we always will be. I know no matter what happens to me, at 3 o'clock in the morning I could call any of them, and they would pick up and be there for me if I needed them. Chosen family, am I right? The tales of making this film are uniformly sunny and steeped in fondness for the Andrews, that's her name. Julie Andrews, who I think is still alive, right? I'm pretty sure she hasn't died yet.
Yeah.
She's still alive, but 2 of the children from the same film are dead. That's just, wow. Tragic. Then a new mother, Julie Andrews, was happy to bond with her on-screen charges when the cameras were off. Hammond, who toured with the Southern Hemisphere with Andrews in a two-person stage show, regards her to this day as a close colleague and a personal friend. Someone with whom you can always talk about this and that, and make sure you don't have spinach between your teeth just before you walk on stage. Everyone needs a friend like that. Cartwright, meanwhile, treasures her memories of attending an on-set class with her on-screen siblings, save the then-adult Carr, which bonded them across a wide age spectrum. They all went to school together. Kim Carth, who played Gretel, was only 5, so she wasn't required to get her school hours, but wanted to go with us anyway. Collectively, they had little sense that they were in the process of phenomenon. Hope every move will be a success. But there were a lot of factors that were telling people it might not be. Hammond. Already the mid-60s, we were moving into an era of darker, grittier, more realistic stories. Musicals about singing nuns and singing children. People weren't all sure that would be something the public was gonna buy. Only at the film's premiere did dawn on the young stars that they were part of something very big indeed. Cartwright's memories of the night are wrapped. It was a huge event at the theater where the big velvet curtains parted, and the music whisked you away to the land of mountains. Then, of course, spoiling, I'm just going, my gosh, this is amazing! Of the 7, Hammond and Cartwright are the only 2 who have enjoyed the most sustained show careers. Each was an established child actor prior to making The Sound of Music. Indeed, Cartwright had already worked with film director Robert Weiss on the Paul Newman boxing drama Somebody up there likes me. At just 4 years old. There's your fun fact. Though she recalls he didn't remember her 9 years later. Well, she probably looked different at 4, to be fair. Each found cult TV success in the years after the film. Hammond in the 1970s, Peter Parker, The Amazing Spider-Man, Cartwright as the sci-fi series Lost in Space. Hammond was last seen on cinema screens in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Cartwright has retired from acting but cheerfully plugs her website, Angela Cartwright Studios, and a podcast she recently launched with her sister, Alien star Veronica Cartwright. Got a family of actors here, but neither has had a role to eclipse the Sound of Music. And both are perfectly happy with that. There was no I could go in the world where people didn't come up and always want to talk about it. I mean, people would have a story to tell of what the movie meant for them, what it meant for their grandmother, what it meant for the child. That enormous impact a film had on everybody meant that I felt it was a great responsibility in those stories. To always behave in a manner that didn't let the film down. Anyway, it didn't let down people's opinion of the characters in the film. It is moving, Cartwright says of enduring fandom that follows the film and her. I try to go to Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles every year for the sing-along screen. When you stand up there in front of all those people that have come together to watch one movie, and we sing Eloise, and everybody sways back and forth with their phones, and see all those lights, it's tremendously moving and very, very special. Magical. Can't draw something like that. It's the feeling. I'm grateful that I'm able to let that sweep over appreciate. To this day, if a flight attendant looks at my boarding pass and sees my name, they will want to tell me what the movie meant to them, says Hammond. That still happens all the time. That's just part of who we are. Now you know. Can't do anything about it.
Right. By the way, Julie Andrews' 90th birthday is in 12 days. October 1st, she turns 90, so a double anniversary. Because she turned 30 while the movie was being released, right? I associate this
it was
movie...
released in the U.S. from the 12th to the 17th, and so it's already gone now. And then the rest of the world is getting it September 20th. That's...
Well, go see the Spinal Tap movie instead, because it's kind of the same. It's similar thing. Spinal Tap, Sound of Music. It has music. I associate this with the movie Inglourious Basterds. Why, you say? Because of the opening scene of Inglourious Basterds, where this Nazi SS guy is going to some shack out in the middle of nowhere to get some Jews living on a farm, and of course, it turns tragic, and the Nazi eventually gets just deserves. But that's kind of, I think that's what Tarantino is going for, that Sound of Music. The Nazis are looking for, you know.
Oh, so like the continuation of the end of the film kind of idea, maybe.
Yeah, it's like an alternate version of the Sound of Music, just like the whole movie is an alternate version of World War II, where all the SS gets assassinated in a movie theater, which never really happened.
Only
including
did,
Hitler, by the way. Never really happened. Yeah. There's some inventing history you wanted to see, but never really happened. It's a genre now. What's that genre called? Fake history genre or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's called fantasy.
He did the same thing. Yeah, he did the same thing in Django Unchained. He did the same thing. Just made up a bunch of stuff that never happened.
Okay, we're back. Let's go to this day in history.
Okay.
And I have no idea
what we
had on the show.
Right on. Just carrying on here. John II Casimir Vasa, King of Poland, signed the Treaty of Wehlau, renouncing the suzerainty of the Polish crown over Ducal Prussia and making Frederick William the Duchy's sovereign ruler. There, sovereign ruler. I understood a little bit of that. In other words, yeah, Duchy, whatever. In 1783, in this day, the Montgolfier brothers sent aloft a balloon with a rooster, a duck, and a sheep aboard rapidly advancing French aeronautics. Yeah, there's a joke in there somewhere. A rooster, a duck, and a sheep are on a balloon. That's the start of a joke. I don't know where the joke goes after that, but 1863, the Battle of Chickamauga Creek, an important engagement in the American Civil War that was fought over control of the railroad center at nearby Chattanooga, Tennessee, began. And the South lost. They lost and they lost, and they continue to lose after that. 1955, President Juan Perón of Argentina was overthrown and fled to Paraguay after an Army-Navy revolt led by democratically inspired officers. Don't cry for me, Argentina. If you know Juan Perón as, his wife was Evita from the musical Evita. Don't cry for me, Argentina, that famous song. Hello, is this thing on? 1970, the Mary Tyler Moore Show premiered on American television on CBS. The groundbreaking series starred Mary Tyler Moore as a single independent working woman at a time when female characters were defined as you got to be a wife, a girlfriend, a widow, or of a male counterpart. Yeah, there was no single working woman on TV except Julia, who was a nurse, a black nurse.
Yeah. But
she was also a widow. So again, oh my God, she only had to work because her husband died. 1991, the Otzal Alps on the Italian-Austrian border. German tourists discovered a mummified human body that was subsequently determined the date from 3300 BCE. So they found a mummy. A mummified guy who froze into the permafrost and was preserved perfectly for 3,500 years.
Similar to our glacier guy from earlier in the month. Remember the glacier guy?
Yeah, glacier guy. Yeah. As the glaciers thought, we're going to find a lot of shit. Prehistoric animals, all kinds of stuff, right? 1994, the medical drama ER debut starring George Clooney and Juliana Margulies. Became one of the highest rated programs on television. And so happy anniversary of that. And 1995, the Unabomber's Manifesto, a 35,000 word anti-technology document written by Ted Kaczynski, who had launched a bombing campaign that killed 3 and wounded 23, was published in the New York Times and the Washington Post. The manifesto helped lead to his capture. Why? Because his brother read it and said, hey, that sounds like my insane brother Ted, who lives in Montana in a shack. That's got to be him. Brother. I know that's him. That's what he said. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, that's my crazy brother I haven't heard from in years. 2011, Panamanian baseball pitcher Mariano Rivera registered a record-setting 602nd career save when he retired in 2013. Rivera had an unprecedented 652 saves and was considered as the sport's greatest relief pitcher. Of course, relief pitcher is a fairly new thing to baseball. And the save is a totally arbitrary stat that they keep changing the rules for. So what a save was in 1971 is not the same as what a save was now. Right? They continually change the rules. So this record is basically meaningless, right? The record for this statistic they invented to keep changing the parameters for, a save is you enter the game and you finish the game, right?
Yeah.
You come in the game and you finish the game. You got to finish the game. But there's rules about how far you are ahead. Like if you're ahead by less than 3 runs, you're not going to get or more than 3 runs, you're not going to get a save, right? And they've been changing the rules. It used to be 3, now it's 2, then it was 4, and then you got to pitch more than 1 inning. And sometimes if you're ahead by 3, you got to pitch 4 innings. There's some whole convoluted formula. This save record is meaningless. It just means you're a good relief pitcher. Let's leave it at that. 2015, English author Jackie Collins, whose glamorous public persona echoed the lavish lifestyle of characters in her provocative romance thrillers, died at the age of 77. She only got to be 77, Jackie Collins. Yeah, she wrote a lot of smut. That's what they called it, smut. We call, wow, look at them people. They're just smutty.
I have a good smut novel.
Yeah, it was just a smut novel. This featured event 1796, George Washington said, I'm no longer the president. You need us a new president. I'm out here. I'm going to retire to my ranch. It was his farewell address printed in the Philadelphia newspaper on this day in 1796. George Washington, first U.S. president, did the most important thing he could possibly do. Give up power. Mm-hmm. That's what you can do. You can give up power. The most important thing you can do with power, give it up. William Golding, British novelist, born on this day, September 19th, 1911. Sorry, not 9/11. That would make him really super old. 1911, he died in 93 at the age of 81 in Paranarwarthal, England, town that needs a new name. He was born in Noquay, England. And our brother birthdays today, Henry III, King of France and Poland, born in 1551. France and Poland. That's a trick to pull that off. They're not even next to each other. 1911, William Golding, British novelist, was born. 1949, British fashion nozzle, fashion model, who sometimes is a nozzle, Twiggy, was born. Sometimes it's part-time job, was a nozzle. She was born in 1949, so she's turning 76. Oh, Twiggy, famously known for being really skinny. That's why they called her Twiggy. 1965, Sunita Williams, American astronaut, born 1965, turning 60 today. And it's Jimmy Fallon's birthday, the American comedian, telephone host of The Tonight Show, the only late night show left in America, the one that is never going to offend anybody ever. So good for Jimmy Fallon. He just playing the game, staying within the boundaries of never offending everybody. Good for you, Jimmy. He's turning 51 today. Happy birthday to Jimmy. Our national day, besides Talk Like a Pirate Day, it's National POWMIA Recognition Day. Missing in action in any war. We tend to focus on the Vietnam War here because that was a disaster of an adventure with a lot of people just disappearing into the jungles and never being seen again. So it's National POWMIA Recognition Award. It's National Love Your Lunch Day. I mean, if you don't love your lunch, don't eat it.
I thought you said rub your lunch. I'm like, why are we rubbing the lunch? Leave that alone.
Okay, I'll leave you with that, but it's love your lunch, and you really love your lunch if you have butterscotch pudding, because it's butterscotch pudding day. So does your Talk Like a Pirate, your mispronunciation, your haikus, your alliteration headlines, your technical glitches, everything for September 19th, 2025 on Before Butterscotch pudding.
Butterscotch. Okay.
Scotch
I have
in your
some
butter.
mixed metaphors. I got 3 mixed metaphors for you. So, when speaking about Jackie Collins, she's all smut, no trousers.
Whoa.
When we're talking about Jimmy Fallon, well, they're opening a can of worms, and now Jimmy is out of the bottle. The genie is out of the bottle, the Jimmy's out of the bottle. And finally, we've got bigger pirates in our bilge, sticky hole.
I'm a little slow. Okay.
So skeletons in our closet to fry. Pirates in our bilge, sticky hole. Okay, and let me see if there's any international days today or this weekend.
What the heck is that?
We've got World Cleanup Day. That's right. Speaking of plastic causing global warming, it's also in our oceans, suffocating fish and all sorts of other fishing tackle is in there, tangling up hooks and freaking turtle noses and stuff. So make sure you don't litter, and if you see litter, clean it up. You see a bag floating in the water, I know it's gross, but guess what? Cleaning your hands is easier than, cleaning up a bunch of suffocating fish. That's tomorrow on Saturday. Yeah,
there's also
20th of September. On the 21st of September
clean up that
is
water.
International Day of Peace. Yep, that's right. Let's celebrate not starting a war with anyone. And stopping the current ones are happening right. Time of turbulence, turmoil, and uncertainty. It's critical for everyone to take concrete action to mobilize for peace. That means, making compromises, diplomacy, perhaps, and not invading a country as a surprise birthday gift, or whatever the hell's going on over there in Ukraine. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we tie off another week, another Friday News Dump, and we hope to see you after this weekend on Mucking Fun Day. If you would like to support the show, we have a Patreon, which their link is in the chat. You can go ahead and click that link and support us there. And if not, liking, following, and sharing this video with your friends is also greatly appreciated. We'll see you next week. Here is
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Okay.
our mic drop
Good.
moment.
His own house is Hopi and Zuni and Navajo.
And this is what movie are we
The
watching?
art collection just had to do purely with an emotional response.
This is an
to
interview.
what I felt
Oh, an interview.
when I saw it. I started collecting kachinas in 1966.
I thought it was going to be a clip from.
And the kachina doll. is
Got a
spirit.
lot of cool.
And there are
No.
hundreds and hundreds of.
I guess dolls.
Because there are hundreds of spirits, and each spirit occupies a doll, and the doll
Cochina
represents a
dolls.
spirit. And then the spirit plays a very
From the Hopis and the
Robert Redford
Navajos.
thought he was going to be an artist himself. Is this in your European art student period?
A global
When I was in
guy.
France, art student in Paris and Italy, and these were just people I knew
Mm-hmm.
in the course of travels.
Had you any idea then
It's
that you
at
would
home with
end up in motion pictures?
Robert Redford at a cabin he built himself.
When one of his teachers turned from mentor to critic, it broke his 19-year-old spirit.
He said, I'm very disappointed. And I was so crushed by that verdict and too immature to rise above it.
Yeah,
that
that's
had a lot to do with
what
my
happens
not
when you're young.
pursuing art with a vengeance, which I had been doing up to
Yeah.
that point.
Did there come a moment when you said to yourself, well, I'm not going to be an artist, I'm going to be an actor?
Yeah, there did. But it came long after I was an actor. I held some fantasy out of my head that I would return to art. And I carried that maybe 5 years into my acting career, and then finally one day just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, who are we kidding? This is what
Became
you
a new
do. This is what
person.
you do well
That's what you
in
call a
life.
midlife crisis.
Give up the idea that you're going to maintain this
Yeah.
career in art.
People pay me for it.
I assume this is the tree that makes it the tree room.
This is the tree that...
It's easy to get the impression that the real Robert
What a
Redford
cozy
is not
place.
the one we think we know from the movies. In our time,
Yeah, he built it himself with his own hands and a couple of
we wanted to
carpenters.
talk about the big power plant
So-
project, which would have polluted the western air. The project he went up against and helped defeat. In gratitude, a woman who lived on the land gave him a great rug.
I love that
woven in
rug, I think.
1883.
So I was just...
Oh.
blown away.
Yeah, listen to the story. Listen to the story behind the rug.
Rolled it. It's 21 feet by 8 feet. Interesting history is that the navy dye did not exist, and the dark color is actually from the cavalry coats of the officers that were killed by the Utes in the battles and woven into the rug. And if you look closely, you can see the dried blood stains.
Oh,
and the
that's
actual holes
So
that were-
that's so spooky.
Right? All of the Navy in that is from Union soldiers' coats, like cavalry coats that they killed on their horses and right?
After working for an intense few months or a year on a film.
What an interesting
to come
thing
back
to.
this rather plain and beautiful place.
Very inspiring.
Every time I come up this canyon, every time I see that. and
Never
feel
has
it,
an angry word for
I
anyone, right?
realize
He's
that
just
I'm not
like,
He's a
taking
very
for granted.
collected
I'm as
guy.
excited as I was the first time I saw it.
Maybe
That's how you live to be
why
89, by the
Anthony
way.
was
You're older.
has the hots for him.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.